Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. Recently experimenting with my stabilization setup, trying to understand it and get it going properly. I stabilized a small block of cottonwood, then said, well, why don't I turn it into something? What's appropriate? How about a goblet? It turned out to be very interesting because I was able to turn the walls of the bowl here very thin, which I don't think cottonwood on its own would have survived. The stabilization contributed, I think, to popping the grain out. It was a little bit harder to turn because it's much harder wood than plain cottonwood. So here's this goblet. It's, I think, very nice result from my experimentation. Let's turn it today. But meanwhile, I'm also doing a lot of work on the Christmas Ornament Challenge for 2022 coming up. Getting the vendors in line so that you can have a special deal when you submit your ornament. But meanwhile, plan now for November to do your ornament or ornaments and put them into the challenge. Remember, clubs get a special benefit too, so get ready. It's coming fast.
I am finally firing up my stabilizing setup. As a test, I stabilized the small piece of cottonwood. Cottonwood is a light wood, and now this block is much heavier. I have mounted it between centers. One difference is that the points of the centers do not dig in. Very different than usual where the drive centers bore into the wood. On this piece, I have to reset the mount when it jumped out of the center divot. Attempting to get the feel of the stabilized wood, I cut away some of the tailstock end before going back to cut a dovetail mounting tenon. With that completed, I have mounted the block to the chuck. Now I can work on the foot of the goblet. This is the opposite of most goblet processes. Usually most work from the bowl down to the foot. There are good reasons for this order. Primarily this keeps thick wood for as long as possible to avoid breakage and wobbling. On the other hand, leaving the foot for the last usually means finishing it by hand or leaving it somewhat rough. I drill a little because this keeps pressure in line with the turning axis. However, this is now very hard wood. I still resort to a round nose scraper inside the foot. On the outside, my spindle gouge still works great, but slower due to the hard wood. Finally, sand and apply shellac. This is another opportunity to try out my soft jaws. I've made up a new set for the smaller foot of this goblet. I put 4 popsicle sticks between the jaws to spread them just a little. I need to round off the exterior of the jaws. The inside center is a bit ragged due to the mount bowl access hole. To clean this up, I'm drilling this with a Forstner bit, then complete with a box scraper, a skew, and a round nose scraper. This will provide a flat at the bottom with a rounded section that will trap the foot somewhat like a dovetail, but better fitted to the goblet's foot. This is another option to turning the foot first in addition to my earlier videos. While this is secure, I still bring up the tailstock for security, then cut back the excess diameter with my spindle gouge. I want to drill out some of the bowl, but my bits are dull and the wood is hard. So I finish with a box scraper, a round nose scraper, and a 1/4 inch round nose scraper. This is much harder with this stabilized wood than regular, very soft cottonwood. After sanding, I can apply shellac to the inside of the bowl, just in case I cannot get to it later. Now for the exterior. Most critically, I measure the depth of the bowl and transfer this to the outside. I have turned way too many funnels. While turning the outside of the bowl, I check again and again because this wall will be very thin. I think with the stabilized wood, I can go thinner than with normal wood. Then move to the stem. While turning the foot, I ended with a surface that will end in a groove. This is above the jaws, so I do have access while turning the stem. Usually I would use a skew, but this area is too tight. My spindle gouge and a mini gouge will do great. Then sand and apply shellac finish. This goblet is not large, but the grain is fantastic, with a very nice curly figure and chatoyance. The wood was stabilized as I tested my stabilizing setup. I think the stabilizing helped enhance the figure, helping to make it pop. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, and tell your friends about my videos. I appreciate your comments and questions. Every week I add a new wood turning video to my website. Always, please wear your full face shield anytime the lathe is running. A face shield saved my life and it can save yours. And if you use it, I'll be able to see you again next week. If you do not use it, well, try to heal quickly.